Om Shanti and welcome back to Light of Knowledge with Sister Maureen. For those of you who have just tuned in to this episode, Sister Maureen is the program director of Brahma Kumaris in UK, and she's also an NGO representative at the UN in Vienna, and she's conducted many workshops for social welfare. Sister Maureen, welcome back to Godlywood Studio.
Thank you so much. Nice to be back with you.
Thank you. Sister Maureen, we had such a beautiful conversation in our previous episode where we got to know about Rajyoga Meditation. And today we're going to continue this discussion, find out more about Rajyoga Meditation, and we'll take some specific examples to know how it can benefit the busy lifestyle. As I recall, you had mentioned about connecting to the Supreme as the next step. So could you please talk to us about that?
Sure. I think we talked last time about being more aware of our true self,
Yes.
the inner being, the soul, accessing the original qualities of the soul, which actually is something that we share with all human beings, all human souls on this planet. But we also know that when we really try to access those, release those qualities, use them, as we've mentioned so often, the challenges come and then things get compromised, we feel a little bit weak. So we really do need a lot of inner strength. And so that's where the connection with the divine, with the Supreme, really comes into play. Because when I'm so conscious, then I'm operating at a different vibration. I mean, we do feel different vibrations from people, right? Depending on their awareness, their state of being, their state of mind. So this is a spiritual awareness, spiritual vibration that makes it very easy for us to connect with the divine. Because we're on that same wave, we're on God's wavelength, if you like, which is a beautiful thing. And as we connect, it's like opening up a channel or a pathway for God's qualities to reach us and empower us.
You know, when you just mentioned God's wavelength, a question came to my mind.
Sure.
We're here so caught up in our daily life. And here, for example, someone who's just starting out with his or her meditation practice. And when you think of God, you know, the Supreme Being, it's like unimaginable, like what wavelength God is at. So naturally the question comes to mind, how can I, sitting down here, connect to God who's up there on a different wavelength?
Right. I mean, this is where the steps come in. So, you know, first step really is understanding the self and experiencing the qualities of the soul. That is what prepares us. But it's not enough. We need that extra step. And that may come quickly, may come in a little while. I think this is where really on the path of meditation or spiritual development, we are all individual. And you can't really compare your progress with another person's. Otherwise you'll say, oh, I'm much better, or oh, I'll never get there, you know, it'll be one or the other. We all go at our own pace, and we have to go step by step. And sometimes we try to jump and we have too many expectations, and we actually miss the subtle experience that we're having inside. Because my mind is moving ahead to what I want to achieve. Meditation isn't about achieving something. It's about experiencing and being, which is different. It's a different mindset. And then as I begin to experience that in terms of my original self, it's a very natural next step to connect with the divine. It doesn't take a lot of effort, and it's not very complicated.
Since we're talking about meditation for busy lifestyle and busy people, as you mentioned earlier in the previous episode, even 20 minutes per day. Now, to me, it almost sounds like if I'm going to take several months to not even use the word finish, but several months to complete or several months to achieve the first step, so be it, right? Because you're talking about not rushing into the next step. So if I can give you, I'm a busy person, I can give you just 20 minutes of my time, then how can I truly use those 20 minutes in a way that's going to benefit me to even understand who I am?
So first of all, you're not giving me 20 minutes of your time. You're giving it to yourself.
Myself. That's important. That's very true.
Important.
Yes, that's a very important thing.
And yes, it's very good to take up a course of meditation so that you understand the basics.
Okay.
And of course we have our centers, but now we also have things online, which is great.
Okay.
So, everything's available.
Right.
So yes, I would recommend that. But then I'm thinking about daily practice.
Okay.
And the important thing is to start the day in the right way.
Okay.
And so those 20 minutes, if they're spent at the beginning of the day, focusing my mind, experiencing my qualities, experiencing the connection, it has a huge influence on the rest of the day.
Okay.
And so it requires a little bit of sacrifice to get up at least 20 minutes earlier. If not, you want to freshen up and whatever. Of course, as you go on, I know people like to get up even earlier, spend more time. They really value that early morning
Once
time.
you get the taste of it.
Once you get the taste of it, yes. And so giving yourself that time, and then it's like you can't miss it. You want it, you look forward to it. If you don't do it, it's like, you haven't eaten or, and think of the contrast of the beginning of the day, starting the day mindfully, consciously, with some wisdom, with some spiritual study, with some reflection, with meditation, then going into your day. Or starting the day with alarm, oh my God, got to get out, get dressed quickly, shower, dressed, grab a cup of coffee, off you go. Now, which day is going to be more productive?
My meditation.
Of course.
Yes.
So it really does make sense to do that. And the thing is, I owe it to myself. And this is part of valuing the self and loving the self. Is giving the self this kind of time. But then throughout the day, I need the top-ups, right? And this is where I love this concept of just taking a minute or taking a pause. A pause can do everything. So the phone goes, right? And you don't know who's on the other end of the phone. Could be somebody offering you something nice, could be somebody who's irate, or whatever. So I just go, pick up the phone, then I'm not prepared. But pause. Again, makes the world of difference. And that pause doesn't take time. It's a second, 2 seconds.
But what do you tell yourself during the pause?
Nothing. You just say, pause.
Oh, okay.
Wait.
Okay.
Then.
Okay.
To put that little bit of gap between you and the action. And that makes a difference. It allows you to then consciously respond instead of just reacting.
Respond versus react.
And this is something I found, say somebody gets angry with you. I'm sure nobody gets angry with you.
Oh, it happens a lot, believe me.
That happens to all of us. But how do we respond? We tend to respond in the same way that the person's interacted with us. Now, how useful and productive is that? Not at all, actually. One person's upset, now 2 people are upset. What's the point? So this is where the pause, I'll say, okay, how can I respond? And I will respond in a different way to the way the person was talking to me. I like to tell this story of when at one point I was going home from our center. I live a few minutes walk away, and somebody came up to me, somebody I've known for a long time, and something had bugged them and they were quite angry with me. And they said, you do this, you do this, you do this. Of course, nobody's perfect. And I just listened, and I just really in a second decided I'm going to keep in my heart the love that I've always had for this person. I'm not going to let it be compromised. So I listened respectfully and went on, stopped. I said, okay, good night. I didn't try to justify myself. I walked home. Then I reflected and I thought, okay, one of the things he's saying is right.
Okay.
And I need to change that behavior.
Okay.
And the other two things I think are more a projection. I could see that clarity.
Right.
But I kept the love. Next day, I was in my office, and I have a little office off the main office, and I could hear the same person came in. I didn't hear what he said, but I knew from the tone it was, you know, the same stuff. After he left, someone popped their head round the door. Did you hear what so-and-so was saying? You know, normally, well, what did they say?
Right.
I said no, and I don't need
don't
to
want
know.
Right.
I felt very free, actually. This is the thing. Meditation makes you free. Which is, I love freedom.
Yeah.
And so then, within the hour, he phoned me to apologize.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And said, I'm really sorry for talking to you like that.
Oh, okay.
But because I hadn't kept anything in my heart, I was able to say, it's okay, forget it, no problem. Let's do our best. And no tension in the relationship afterwards. Never went back to it.
What a wonderful place to be. I mean, if we could all be like, you know, so stable in the face of anger from the other person.
Yeah, because if somebody's angry, they appear strong, but they're actually weak.
Right.
And so I need to give them, they need love. You know?
Right.
I don't mean that in a patronizing, condescending way, but genuinely, what should come from my heart for that person that will be the most helpful, not just for them, but also for me.
Right. Very true.
Otherwise, I burn up with anger.
Exactly.
I waste my energy.
Exactly.
Anger wastes a huge amount of time and energy.
And, you know, it's like a give and take. We're not even gaining much energy. But if we lose more than we're gaining, then we're just going to be like, you know, empty.
We're depleted, and then the next situation comes, I'm just helpless. You know, I just come into my reactions and my emotions.
You know, I was thinking, is it possible to, like, say I depleted, I got angry. This person got angry at me, I got angry at him or her. I depleted my energy. And maybe within the next 15, 20 seconds, I realized, oh my God, you know, I reacted.
Yeah.
Is it possible to come back to our natural state?
Definitely. As soon as we have that realization, we need to stop.
Okay.
And then say, okay. And then at that point, you come back to your equilibrium.
Okay. But even that may take some time, right? Because my heart is still palpitating. You know, I'm still like kind of in that.
I need to sit down and talk to myself.
Okay.
And sometimes, especially in Britain, but also in India too, have a cup of tea. It's very helpful.
Okay. That's
and
a good
just
suggestion.
sit and calm yourself down, talk to yourself. And then actually say to yourself, ask the question, what's the most useful for me? To carry on with this anger or to just be calm and to be loving to myself and to others?
Right.
And it's a no-brainer, as they say, of what's more useful.
Most useful.
I remember when we were doing some 1-minute interviews about, you know, taking a minute. We have, you know, a program, Just a Minute, 1-minute meditations, which is really helpful. And it was somebody who's actually a religious leader and a great scholar, lovely person. And he told a very lovely story. He said that, and he's an expert in dialogue, right?
Okay.
So he had to give a talk, and he was rehearsing it with his wife. And so he was talking, and she wanted to interrupt him to say something. And suddenly, you know, and he ignored her, and then he said, "Don't interrupt me when I'm talking about dialogue."
Okay.
And then he realized what he said.
What did you do? Yeah.
And he stopped for a minute. And then he said, that minute changed my marriage.
Wow. Wow.
How interesting. So he saw how he was contradicting himself and how he was relating to his wife.
Right, right.
And he said, what am I doing?
Right.
So that realization, so it wasn't some crisis, but it was just, he realized what's going on here.
Right, right.
So that moment of stopping, that moment of pause, and actually, yes, we can just be calm and pause, but then I come back to, I'm a being of peace.
So this itself is a meditation practice, right? I mean, we are talking about meditation for busy people.
Yes.
And even these 1 minute gaps or pauses, as you call them,
Yes.
that is meditation in itself. So it doesn't really have to be something very big or, heavy. Something simple as this is meditation.
Exactly.
Okay.
And, people have a lot of responsibilities.
Right.
Maybe they're managing many others or projects or
Sure.
whatever. I know myself, sometimes it can get overwhelming, what to do first. People come and they have their demands,
Right.
People come in and one person wants this, another person wants that. What do you do?
Right, right.
And I know for women who take on these roles, often there's also the role at home as well.
Sure.
It's never just one.
Right.
But also, for many men, they do a very good role at home. So
Sure.
I'm happy to see all these role reversals happening now in the world, which is great in society.
Right.
But again, I need to take a little bit of time to clarify my mind.
Okay.
Now, I know I'm working on a particular project at the moment, and it's got to a point where people are sending me emails. Aren't emails wonderful? I think about the tyranny of emails. It's like, you get sent an email, and if you don't answer within a few hours, another email comes, did you get my email? Oh dear, give me peace, please.
Right.
And I know now I have to sit, I have to sort things out in my own mind. But first, actually, let me take a step back. Take a step back, be in my state of peace.
Right.
And summon God's presence into the task.
That's important.
That is really beautiful to
Yes.
do. And then everything looks different. Everything seems different. And I know I then have to sort out, maybe I have to write things down, whatever, we all have our methods, and we have to be practical. We can't just say, oh, I'll meditate and everything will suddenly sort itself out.
That does not happen.
I wish it was like that.
I know.
But yes, we have to be practical, but from which space within, from which attitude?
So you just, whether it is your emails or anything that any bench work, desk work you're doing,
or any task.
Or any task for that matter. So you would just, when you say summon God in that task, you would just kind of step back and say, God, be with me. Is that it?
Yes, it can be that simple.
Okay.
Or it's a feeling.
Okay.
You just know, you feel that presence.
Okay.
And you feel supported.
Okay.
This is something that I find very beautiful.
Okay.
When I feel that presence with me, I feel that I'm not alone.
Okay.
Of course, I have many colleagues, and I'm not alone in that sense.
Right.
And of course, working with others, that's a whole other subject to take up, isn't it? And to work with others, we need a huge amount of flexibility.
Yes.
But let me come to that. But just with God's presence, I feel I'm not alone.
Okay.
I'm supported. And I feel then that I'm relying on God's wisdom to help guide me.
Okay.
And sometimes you come up with very creative solutions.
Right.
And when it's really based on that wisdom, everybody else likes it. They say, yeah, great.
That's nice.
And then internally you say, I can't take credit for this.
Yeah.
It's God.
That's very beautiful. That's really beautiful.
But then this other thing of working with others and flexibility, I always try myself, unless something is really going to be of detriment, if I can accommodate the views of others, say yes, fine, let's do it this way, whatever it is, I'd rather do that. Because if you keep good relationships, then people will always keep the communication open, and you can work together, and people won't go off on their own track and try to prove that they can do this better, because they feel supported.
So being meditative can also make you more cooperative.
Absolutely, yes. Because being meditative actually helps to quell the ego.
Okay.
Because if you think about it, it's our ego that causes all the problems.
That's right. If we talk about students these days, they are under a lot of stress.
Oh, absolutely.
And when we were growing up, it was a completely different story.
Completely.
In the life of a student, how can he or she bring in the meditation practice to specifically help them? I can I can almost use the word busy even for a student. They're probably busier than the managers or the homemakers. How can we help students by implementing meditation in their life?
Yeah. Actually, I see that more and more young people are now becoming aware and turning to meditation.
Okay.
I think it's important to go to where young people are. Don't just expect that they're going to come to you,
Right.
or they're going to come to your center or whatever it is.
Right.
I think online resources are very important for young people,
Okay.
to make a lot of use of that,
Okay.
but to reach out.
Okay.
And it can first be within our families.
Sure.
But creating that atmosphere in the home where a young person feels, I'm going to benefit from this because I can feel the atmosphere at home and how it's helping me.
Right.
And so yes, we do have meditation societies, things like this. So I would say really go to where young people are at. But also I do see that young people get it very quickly.
Oh, okay.
They haven't got their ingrained mold of thinking.
The ego.
They're more the ego or the old habits, or
Right.
they're more open, they're creative, they're more likely to try something new.
Okay.
So when you do reach out, I find that it's very, very fruitful and very productive. And young people are just wonderful. They're our future, aren't they?
But they do they follow when you tell them, like, look inward, look inside? Is it easy for them to grasp?
They get it, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Of course, not for everyone.
Right, right.
But of course, I'm generalizing
Right,
here.
right.
But I do find that it's possible.
It's
definitely,
possible.
Yes.
So age is no limit. I mean,
Children can meditate.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've seen children teach the parents to meditate.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
That's really good to know, because the normal belief is you have to be a certain age to understand meditation, to be able to meditate. But in your experience, it's just the reverse. So that gives a lot of hope, I'm sure, to our young viewers out there, or their parents.
Of course, children come with their parents,
Right,
not
right.
on their own. But
Right.
yes, children are able to do that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Didi, thank you so much once again for sharing all these wonderful, wonderful thoughts with us. And we would like to have you back with us again, because we have a lot more questions for you. So we look forward to seeing you again in our Godlywood studio.
Thank you so much again. Very lovely to be with you. Thanks
you.
for your questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Didi had such wonderful tips for us today. Meditation is important in our busy lifestyle. 20 minutes in the morning and the rest of the day in a meditative lifestyle. And how do we do that? Just few easy steps. Pause for a second before answering that phone. Before starting any job, bring God in your life. Experience His presence, and the task will then get faster and sooner and more efficient. Meditation can also be practiced by youngsters. Age is no limit. So introduce meditation to your children today. And as Didi mentioned, you can go to the center close to you. There is a lot of online help that is available these days. So either way, make it your goal to have a meditative lifestyle. With these words, we thank you all for watching us. Until our next episode, take care and Om Shanti.